Oh, guys, I am so thankful to the fact that you guys are sharing something like this, something so real during this time. I'm literally in traffic and I'm filled with tears in my eyes because I know, not to the extent of what she's experienced, but I know that feeling. I know that. And I really hope that there are women out there that are listening today and that honestly, yeah, they just put themselves first. And it's very difficult when you're in that situation. But wow, thank you so much, Heart FM. I really appreciate today's show.
All right, yeah. Listen, it's what we need to do, and maybe just for a moment we can pause ahead of what we call the festive season. Just realizing for very many, there's very little festive when they live in a cycle, in a spiral of abuse. Richard Noor's with us, Dr. Richard Noor, no stranger on Hot Breakfast. He these days for his sins is chairman of the community chest. Richard, good morning. Thanks so much for your time with us.
Good morning, Aiden, and good morning to everybody in the studio and all the listeners out there.
I wish the conversation were around things way more pleasant. I mean, we've had loads of discussions about all sorts of things over the years, but wearing this hat as somebody who's at the helm of a board that serves an organization that looks for solutions for the community, you're here to echo exactly what Rachel said. Help is available. You know, I think when you are just at your most vulnerable and at your deepest, darkest place, the concept of help is so far away, but it is there if you go and look, though, hey?
So first, I think we must extend our appreciation to Rachel and others like Rachel for the power and the courage that they have to come and share what is a very, very personal and intimate story. There are many that haven't reached that stage of being able to do that. We recognize that at Community Chess. We recognize that for every one Rachel, there's 100 that is not able to find their voice. And we want to be the voice of the voiceless. We want to be the organization that is out there supporting the most vulnerable in society in all forms, shapes, and sizes. And we're proud of our 96-year history almost for having done that. This period of 16 days, it's way too little, not just for the abuse of women and children, but for all of the campaigns that we do run. It should be annual campaigns focusing on uplifting those in our society that need us most. And we stand here ready to take on the fight for those that can't do it for themselves.
You know, the concept of help, though, so it's somewhere to go, but I think, and in having done interviews with survivors over the years, there's perhaps the knowledge that I can go to a place and for a while the beating can stop. What happens thereafter? You know, it's about upskilling. It's about becoming employable. It's about becoming financially independent. These seem almost insurmountable when you're almost held hostage, held captive by an abuser.
And I was reading the press release of Department of Social Services saying that they call in on NPOs, NGOs. It's a collective effort on the part of all sectors of society. It's not going to be a governmental solution. It's not going to be a community chess solution. If we all bandy together and we join hands on developing our communities in a sustainable manner, it's the only way in which we're going to get programs that carries through and relieves us of the pain of what we're going through as a society. And Rachel's story, as powerful as it is, there are other sectors. I mean, I can't wrap my head around to what I've just heard this morning, to be honest with you. As a man, we all have mothers. You know, how do you beat the mother? How do you beat somebody who's given life to your kids? I can't wrap my head around that. So civil society in all forms, shapes and sizes, whether it's corporate South Africa, whether it's the NPO space where we find ourselves in, need to work collectively to have programs of change. And whatever we do in community chess, we believe that it needs to be sustainable. You know, we can't just feed people. We need to give them opportunities to create employment to continue feeding themselves. And it's the same with programs like GBV. We can't just raise the awareness now. We need to find mechanisms and how we partner together with government to give more Rachels opportunities to have a safe place. And it's a collective effort, and we as community chest can lead some of these efforts. We can't lead all of it. We can find some solutions. We won't find all of those solutions. But maybe it's time we got around the table, multiple sectors of society, and find collective ways to stop this, because one more is one too many. We have to put an end to it.
The thing that killed me about her story is people knew. You know, the neighbors know, and we all come from communities where you can hear beating happening. You can hear the shouting, if it's children being beaten, if it's women being beaten, and it's deemed to be pretty normal. You know, families turn a blind eye, neighbors turn a blind eye. I don't know what the solution is. I mean, there's part of me here almost thinking somebody's got to go in and just, while that's happening, sort out the person doing it, just moor him so he knows what it feels like. I mean, that's sort of the anger that's building up inside of me. But yeah, we as, and I mean, I say all of us as a community, we choose to ignore. You know, it's that silence. As much as getting around the table and everybody working out solutions, I mean, that's one part of it. The other is just not to tolerate it.
So society's become so desensitized to a lot of the discourses that's happening. I mean, we hear somebody, we see traffic violations, we see the taxis driving the way they do, we see violence on our streets, we see the crime all around us, we see corruption, and we're too scared to do anything. You've labeled me a troublemaker because I don't stand for this.
Yeah.
Okay. If I am privy to something that's happening that shouldn't be happening, I will put a voice to it. I'm willing to take a fall for these efforts in society. Somebody has to do it, and we were all a couple of years ago, especially the men. You know, we were coming out, not one more, but it stops there. We all brave to say not one more, but we're not brave enough to go that one step further and stop it. Right? When we know that it's happening.
Yeah.
We're too scared because there's going to be ramifications for us. There can be no ramifications for us if we're protecting the lives of others. And if we do that with clear intentions, and if we're doing that to avert what could be somebody's life, then we're doing it for the right reasons. And I keep saying, no good deed goes unpunished, but keep doing good. And when you see these things happening, raise an awareness. If you can't do it by yourself, then at least find an organization that you can bandy around to raise the awareness of your neighbor, somebody at work, somebody that you become aware of that's going through this. It's our jobs as leaders in society to raise the awareness and to actually act. I think it's important, and I hate this concept of we think about how we're going to do things. I like to say let's act about how we get things done.
So what are some of the things that Community Chest is doing, or some of the programs that you are involved with?
So we've got a broad sector underpinned by everything that we do, and the Community Chest was founded for the alleviation of poverty, right? Poverty 94 years, 95, 96 years ago is very different to how poverty looks today, right? So our focus is to alleviate poverty. When we've sat for the last 18 months and we looked at what poverty looks like, we're not winning the battle to save people from malnutrition. We look at various programs now and saying, how do we look at the health sector and what we can do as Community Chest in the health sector to have programs of change. We look at the ECD center, right? So how do we get the child to understand its role in society? And how do we make sure that we have feeding systems that are sustainable and it's not there for a day or two? Which in some cases, and my personal opinion is, if we feed somebody for a day or two, we give them a little bit of a full tummy, but we destroy the hope when we walk out of their lives. And we don't want to be doing that. We don't want to be agents of change for a day. We want to be agents of change for a lifetime.
All right. You're going to have to park it there.
Yeah, I think just one last thing from my side, and the thing that sort of just stuck with me with the conversation with Rachel earlier, and she said there's a woman who was abused last night.
Or this morning.
Or this morning. That is the sad reality. And so, and Rachel emphasized that point. She said there is help out there. There are organizations like the Sarki Bartman Center that can offer help, and not only take them out of that situation, but equip them with skills to become independent and all of that. And then I googled, because I'm like, if a woman now listening or was abused this morning or last night or the day before, and they don't know, there's a Stop Gender Violence helpline. And it's a toll-free number, and maybe a number that I think we should all remember, because it doesn't necessarily have to be the person who's being abused. But if you know your neighbor's being abused, I think you doing your civil duty to report such abuse. There's a toll-free number, 0800 150 150. So I think maybe people just remember that number, 0800 150 150. They speak in all our official languages, so it doesn't matter, you can speak to someone who speaks your language. 0800 150 150.
There we go. It starts with that phone call, and it'll lead to help. Absolutely. And help is the thing that is in our minds in short supply, but there's lots of it if we go and look.
I just want to say, a couple of months ago, Women's Day, our female staff went to the SARC Department Center. Not so long ago, that center almost got closed, right? And we must be cognizant of that. And the one thing that community chess...
And it got closed, almost closed because of financial issues, right? Yeah, and I mean, a shortage of money, not mismanagement.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one thing that community chess does do is to go out and support homes like SARC Department. And we're going to put our money where our mouth is and kickstart a little campaign and donate 25,000 Rand on behalf of Community Chest to the SARC Department Center. And I want to call on all those men, all the corporates out there, to come on board and put your money where your mouth is. When you say enough is enough, this is one way in which we can help the women that are going through this trauma. And as Rachel said, last night, tonight, and the months and weeks, especially during the festive season, it happens on a daily basis because alcohol is abused at this time, and a lot of women and children are going to be suffering while some of us are going away on a festive and going to celebrate with our families. There's a woman crawling into a cupboard tonight to hide from the abuse. So let us bandy around and save the organizations like SARC Department.
Good stuff. Dr. Richard Noor, Chairman of the Community Chest, appreciate his time. Also Rachel, who was in with us earlier, just sharing, what an awful story, but one where she went from being a victim to somebody who's victorious. I mean, these days she is a counsellor at SARC Department, helping the women who are rather exactly in the position that she was in some years ago. Just how powerful is that not? Absolutely. So Jules, that number again?
0800 150 150.
Use it. It's there. That is the first step towards finding help.